Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei. I'm so excited to paint with you today. Today we're going to do another page in our watercolor journals. I am using a 6x9 journal with 140-pound cold pressed paper, 100% cotton in it. This brand is Bao Hong, and I have a link in the description to this as well as other recommendations of different brands as well. I am going to be using my Core Mini Watercolor Palette. It says 12 colors in it. It's a great little palette that packs a big punch, and I'm a big Core fan, QOR by Golden. And then I also have my butcher tray here. This is just more space to mix colors on. The Core Mini palette does have quite a bit of space in this top tin here for the small kind of travel size palette, but I just like a little more space, so I brought that out. And then I have a size 10 round brush. This one is Velvet Touch by Princeton, but any round brushes you have will do. I'll probably mix in a couple of other sizes as we work our way through. So again, we're going to be doing a landscape. Actually, I don't know if I said that already. I'm going to do a landscape based off a photograph that I received this morning from my son who's hiking in New Mexico. And I just thought it was a lovely, simple, but beautiful, very quiet and serene landscape to paint. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm not going to do any drawing. I'm going to go right into painting and kind of blocking out my sky and different shapes. So first I'm going to start with my lightest colors. I'm just wetting these a little bit. I'm going to clean up these yellows. I got quite a bit of green in them. So basically just wiping off the surface. We're going to start with the lightest areas. So I'm going to pick up some yellows and magentas to create some light peachy colors. And my sky also has quite a bit of blue in it. So I'm pulling out, this is, I can never remember the name of this yellow. This is a bismuth yellow. It's a very cool shade of yellow. I'm also going to pull out, see, my other yellow in here is Nickel Azo yellow. This is a warmer yellow. And I got some magenta in here. Nope, that's purple. Magenta is right here. But my magenta has a little blue on top of it. So if your pans, if your cake pans get contaminated, usually you just have to wet the top of it and kind of pull off the top, the little top layer there, and you'll have a nice clean cake pan. All right, so I have this magenta. I'm going to mix it with some yellow over here. So we're going to start to get this more orangey peachy color. And I'm going to add lots of water to add a little bit more of this yellow. There we go. So this is very bright and vibrant, and then I'm just going to add lots of water to it to make it nice and diluted. And you'll notice the Core Mini palette, it doesn't have any white in it like some of the other sets do. You really don't need it for 99.9%, and many watercolors don't use it at all. Some people do. I do from time to time, but a lot of times you don't need it. Okay, so for my sky, basically I have two really light areas. It's like this little V shape, and this is, I'm basically painting the negative space of the mountain range. So the mountain range is going to be down here, and then this is going to be sky. So you can see it's very light. I put some yellow in there. I'm going to mix in some of this more peachy pink color. Ant on my table. And then I'm just going to start to blend upward. And I'm going to leave some really light or white spots. And then pick up some more of this orangey color. I'm going to take some of my Phthalo blue green shade. Should be able to see that there. I just took a little tiny bit with lots of water, and I'm going to start coming down from the top with that. But when they meet, they're going to be kind of almost white. A very, very light color here. I don't want to mix any of the yellows and get greens with my blues. So there, it looks very, very light and kind of unassuming. It'll feel brighter as we add in our contrast, our darker colors. That little water droplet here. I'm going to add in some more. All right, we're gonna leave that as is, and I'm gonna pull, oh, that's a very dirty paper towel. I try to use these until I really just have I'm just gonna pull a tiny little bit of color off right here, so it's basically white right in that section. All right, and then we're gonna let that kind of dry. I have some green here from my last painting that I did, and this is a combination of sap green, phthalo blue green shade. There might even be a little Payne's gray in here. I'm going to add a little bit more Payne's gray, and that's going to desaturate this. And we are going to go pretty dark in some of these areas, but everything is this desaturated, like you can tell it's green, but it's a very dusky gray green. Right at sunrise. I'm going to add some water here. All right, so let's see here. Paint across this way and down this way. There's actually a bush here that I will put in darker color. And so you can see here's the horizon of where the flat land ends, and then the rest is going to be peaks above it, or mountain range in the background. So just we're going to add in some bushes and grasses in just a minute. So there's a bush over here. Just going to basically kind of block that in. A little darker color there. And then there's a little bit of a something over here. It's hard to see in the photograph, but you can tell there's some kind of greenery in this section here as well. And then we have this like path that we're walking through. I don't know if they were walking through it or just looking out in that direction. And it's kind of dusky, kind of foggy in a few spots. All right, we're going to let this dry a bit, and then we're going to put in our mountain range here. And there's even some trees over here, but I'm gonna let this dry and we're gonna make an even darker color. So while that is drying, let's pick up some more sap green. Nice, beautiful sap green and Payne's gray. All right, so we have our color mixed. We gotta wait for that to dry just a few more minutes, and then we'll come back and add in our mountain. All right, we're back and things are pretty dry. I'm going to, you know what I didn't do is I never clipped this down. So it started to curl a little bit during the drying process. I'm trying to keep that in the green. There we go. Clip it on this side and on this side. There we go. Okay. So even very good paper will still buckle and curl a little bit. It's still a porous, fibrous paper. Okay, I'm going to basically add in with my dark green here, and you might even want to do another, more than one layer, but you can definitely see some, they're very green. There's lots of trees and stuff up there, but you can definitely see some changes in values a bit, and they do slope this way. Not going to leave any white spaces, but maybe some slightly lighter spaces. This will probably need another layer or two to really make it nice and rich, but you can see how the sky starts to brighten up quite considerably as you put a darker color next to it. And then actually, I'm going to change the shape of this. This is a little bit more accurate to the picture. All right, so we have our mountain range in. Let that dry. And then while that is drying, I'm going to come back down here and add a little bit more detail to some of these other things. I'm going to take some phthalo blue, just add it to this dark green. I'm going to go back in here to whatever this bush-like bit was right here and make it a little darker. And over here as well. And you can see as I put on darker colors, this starts to look even lighter and lighter. So you may even find that you want to go back and add a little bit more to this area. But leaving lots of texture in there. I'm using a very soft hand with my brush. I'm not really scrubbing anything. I'm just, there we go. Okay. Now, I also have, so I'm going to bring in my size 4 brush. I also have some tree kind of coming in complete silhouette over on this side. So let me pull out some Payne's gray. I'll just mix it in with the green, but it's really going to be dark. And I'm going to pick up my size 4. Actually, no, let's see. I got a size 2 over here. Size 2, and this is a Princeton Select. Just really soaking up the color with the brush as much as I can. And from off the side of the page, I'm going to get up way up on the tip of the brush. And put in these tree limbs. And then off of this, we do have like little sporadic bits of leaves. So I'm just dabbing in the side of my brush, kind of getting it on a 45-degree angle. Scooching it around, trying not to be too precise or patterned. Sorry. Making some areas a little thicker than others. So there's one. Pretty much following the photo-ish, but really just using it kind of as a guide for this thing, making the general shape. And then there's a much bigger branch that kind of goes off. This way. And let's see, it actually has some branch that comes down this way. And then more leaves. So let's see, let's make this one. And it's good when you're looking at tree branches to really observe how branches come off branches. It's really easy to get caught up in making everything come off the same kind of core branch, but it's actually, it comes a branch and then a branch off the branch off the branch. There is, I'm sure, an actual formula because nature is crazy beautiful, and I'm sure there's like, I only know what I know from observation, but I'm sure there's like an actual way that branches grow, where you can identify even like certain trees perhaps. All right, so we have this big tree over here. Let's see, I'm going to bring some of this right to the edge. And have some of the leaves go right to the edge. So it doesn't feel like it's just like kind of hanging over about to fall. It's like anchored into the side. All right, so there's our branch, and now in here, I think we also have some, in addition to this bush here, there's some kind of tree that's more like a pine over on this side. It's small. So basically I'm using the photograph to help me place my objects and choose my objects that are in as their inspiration. I get to decide what I want to keep in and what I want to keep out. If I didn't like this tree over here, I felt like it made the photograph feel off balance, or I just didn't know how to or want to paint it. You know, these are all choices that you can make in the process that will help you make artistic choices and turn your photograph into a painting. You don't have to paint exactly what you see. You can certainly try for hyper realism and keep practicing and practicing until you are very good at that. You can use photographs as inspiration to create, and then basically edit as you, same way you would edit in a photo app. You get to make choices about what stays and what goes, what gets pumped up in color and contrast. What gets deleted because you don't, you wish you could take it out of the photograph in the first place. All right, and then I do like, there's this little detail at the top of this ridge. I think they're actually in an area or approaching an area where they had pretty bad fire several years ago. So there's all these like barren trees, and it's like a burnt out area. And there's a handful of just these burned out trees on top of the ridge just sticking up. There's no foliage. And it's sad but kind of beautiful too. The pictures they have of the whole area is quite amazing. Nature is a wondrous, wondrous thing. And they are having a blast. Okay. I think we're close to done. This is still looking a little light for me in value, in color. I am going to try to darken it a little bit without kind of messing up everything we've already done. Almost feels like water versus the ground, so I don't want to go too dramatic, but I do want to at least put another layer on it to bring it a little closer, because everything was pretty close in value. Again, at this sunrise time, everything is a little flat looking, with the exception of the sun itself. Like, as nothing really has light on it, there's no light to create other than this bit of radiant light from whatever's behind the mountain ridge. There's nothing to create stark, bright contrast or highlights. Everything is just in shadow. So there, that feels a little better to me. And I'm even going to throw in a few little smidges of darker color. There we go. That feels, yes, that feels like sunrise and that dusky morning dawn feel. Okay. So that is our landscape. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed it. And of course I loved creating it from a photo that my son sent me, that he felt was beautiful enough to be like, hey mom, let me take 2 minutes out of my day of being out in the wilderness to send this to you. Let's take off the tape. And while I do that, I will remind you, don't forget to check out the description for links to supplies and materials that I use in this video, as well as in my everyday painting. Leave a comment. I love to see your comments. I try to respond in some way, even if I'm just loving it. If there's no real question in it, to all your comments. If I've missed yours, I'm so sorry. And don't forget to share this with a friend who might also enjoy some watercolor journaling as well. So there we have it, a nice quick little landscape in our journal based off an inspiration that we received earlier in the day. And I hope you enjoyed it, and happy painting, y'all. I'll see you for our next page really soon. Take care.